It's the mental labor that is exhausting us. Welcome to Change the Conversation with the Hopefulist. My name is Wendy McClure, and it's time we had a conversation about living in a patriarchy and how that affects our lives. Together, we can make a difference and change the conversation. Welcome back to Change the Conversation with the Hopefulist, and I appreciate you being here. So today we're going to talk about what life would be like if we weren't completely exhausted all the time. Now, what plays into this is the mental load, the mental labor that women do in their life, for their families, all the time. There are so many decisions that women are making that nobody else in the family has to keep track of and make, that it is literally exhausting to women, and it's causing decision fatigue. If you're one of those people that at the end of the day, you're like, I cannot even think about what we're having for dinner. Somebody else order something, because you have gotten to your point where you cannot make one more decision. And this is happening everywhere. And I think when you hear what the mental load and mental labor, I'm going to try that one more time, mental labor entails, you'll see that it makes complete and total sense why women are exhausted all the time. So mental labor is when, even when somebody's helping, in quotation marks, you still have to work. You still have to do work to get them to complete the job. What do I mean by that? I mean making him a list of things to do. When it's a weekend, you're cleaning the house, and he's like, well, I can help. What do you want me to do? Why does he have to ask that? And I know that that sounds ridiculous, because it sounded ridiculous to me at first too. But he knows what has to be done. Think about it. He knows what has to be done. The bathrooms need to be cleaned. The vacuuming needs to be done. The furniture needs to be dusted and or polished, and the kitchen needs to be cleaned. The floors may need to be mopped. The mirrors need to be Windexed. He knows all of this. So why is he asking you, what do you need me to do? First of all, it entails, it insinuates that this is all the woman's job. You tell me what to do. You're the boss of this, so you tell me what to do. It's all women's work. So the making of the list, and then when he comes back and says, well, I can't find this, that, or the other, you end up having to go back, find the cleaner or the cleanser or whatever it is that he can't find, and that is still just taking up even more of your time than if you just did it yourself. And this is why a lot of women, and I've heard women say this, it's just easier to do it myself. Because they have that weaponized incompetence. And, you know, that is when they do things half-ass or wrong on purpose, so they don't get asked anymore. That is a lot of it. But the other part of it is that men were not taught to look around a room and see what needs to be done to clean it up. I mean, we just have not encouraged that when it comes to men. It's not something that they have grown up knowing. It's not something that they even think to do, because it's never been put in their mind. You know, we look into a room, we walk into a house, and we can see if there's disarray everywhere. It's the first thing we see. It may be the first thing they see too, but they just think in patriarchal terms, why hasn't she cleaned this up yet? But even when you're asking if you can help, you see what the mess is all about. You see what's happening. And you don't have to keep asking, what should I do? Just do it. You know what needs to be done, so do it. If you're afraid you're going to throw things out, then make a pile. Here's a pile of your books. Here's a pile of the mail. Here's a pile of this stuff. You go through that. I cleaned it all off the table. So you need to go through that now. That will be a bigger help than not doing anything at all, a bigger help than saying every time you pick something up, well, do you need this? Do you need this? Do you want me to throw this away? Right? It's just easier to do it myself. I've heard so many women say that, and this is the reason why. We have to get it into the heads of men that they are capable of looking around and knowing what needs to be done. They don't have to ask. They don't need a list. This is just them going with the status quo. You know, men don't have a lot of expectations on them when it comes to the home, when it comes to cooking, cleaning, laundry, what have you. They just rely on you to do that for the most part. We have to let them know that they need to pull their weight. You know, we're not asking something of them that they shouldn't already be doing. And the reason they aren't doing it now is because of the patriarchal society that we're living in lets them off the hook. They don't have to do this type of work because it's woman's work, right? So we have to start getting it across to men, our husbands, our sons, our nephews, our brothers. Just do it. If you see that the bathroom is dirty, get out the brush, clean the toilet, spray something on the sink and the counter, wipe it off, and clean the bathtub. It's really that simple. And do you know how excited your wife will be if you do that and she comes home to a clean bathroom? Do you realize how many points you are going to score? And I'm not in favor of the point system, but it's a lot of points. What else is mental labor? Well, knowing everything about the kids. You need to know what time they've got to get to school, what time they get done from school. You need to know who their teachers are. I'm sure that the mom probably knows just about every teacher that they have. They have to know about the appointments that they may have, so they have to go to school to get them out for those appointments. They have to know their doctors, where their doctors are located, have the doctor's phone number, and make appointments to take the kids to the doctor. They have to keep track of their activity schedule. Are the kids on a team? When are the practices? When are the games? What kinds of things do they need for game day? Is there a uniform? Is there a certain type of cleat or shoe that they use? Mothers know all of this stuff. Fathers don't know so much. And it's not been expected of them to know this stuff. Another part is holidays. Making all of the holiday plans. Well, when are we going to see your parents? And when are we going to see my parents? And when are we all going to get together so that the cousins can play together? And where are we having dinner on Christmas Eve? And where are we having dinner on Christmas Day? Are we having one of the gatherings here? What should I cook? What do I need to have available for everybody? These are all a million things. Meanwhile, I'm sure that mom is also keeping track of everything that the kids want, buying everything that the kids want, wrapping everything that the kids want. This is why holidays are so stressful for most women, because they already do 90% of the mental load, the mental labor. And yes, I just pulled that statistic out of my head. I don't have any statistics to back that up, but I have a pretty good gut feeling on that number. That on top of all of that we already do as women, when the holidays come around, it's so much more. Throw baking into that, cookies or, candy and just things that you make over the holidays, I give as gifts Chex Mix, and I make some fudge. And I used to make a whole lot more, but you know what? It was too much work, and it was expensive. Some of this stuff, very expensive. So I stopped doing some of it, but there's others that is just demanded each and every year. What about when it comes to vacation? Mom is likely planning the vacation. She's booking the airfare, the hotel. She's telling others that let so-and-so know that we're going to be out of town. They're making arrangements for the dog. They're making arrangements to get the mail picked up. They're making sure that the kids are out of school. And if they aren't out of school, that there is a notification going to the school. She likely has to remind her husband to take off of work. She has to know everybody's schedule and what everybody is doing, and do that for everyone in the family, including herself. She has to know everyone's favorite food. She has to keep track of what foods her kids hate and refuse to eat. She knows what it is to what you need to use in the laundry. You use white, you use bleach in the whites, and it has to be all pure whites. It can't be like the tube sock with the red around it, because then that's going to be bleached out. No, you have to have certain things for certain different types of laundry loads. Who knows all of this? Mom does. Who does all of this? Mom does. This is why women are emotionally and physically exhausted. Put a full-time job on top of that and a commute. I didn't even talk about making lunches, making sure the kids have lunch money, or any of that kind of stuff. Is it a little understandable why women are completely exhausted? Yeah, it makes total sense. So we need to start letting men know that we can't do it all, that the do it all, motto is BS. Nobody can do it all unless you're a man, and all you have to do is go to work and come home, and everything else is taken care of for you. And I admit, a lot of marriages are different now. A lot of men are pitching in a lot more than they used to, depending on the generation. But most of the domestic labor and the mental labor still falls on the woman. I have a neighbor whose daughter comes down pretty often with her 3 kids, 3 kids under the age of 5. I can't even imagine. And I see their dad. He's pretty involved. He's, playing with them and talking to them. And, I think personally that he's a pretty involved father. But does he know the doctor's name? Does he know where the doctor is? Does he know what time the kids have to get picked up from school? Or, you know what I mean? Like, that's the things that I wonder about, because women were conditioned to just take up these responsibilities. This is going to be your job. You will have to take care of this. And we're finding out that it's not such a great deal for us. So we resist. We resist because it's time to get some help. Women are exhausted. They're miserable. They're depressed. They feel broken. And this is one of the main reasons why. We have too much to do. We have too much to do. It's just as simple as that. So we have to tell our men that they need to start doing more for our own sanity, that they need to start doing things on their own, be proactive. If you see a dirty toilet, get the scrub brush out, clean that bad boy. If you see that the counters are all goopy, wipe them off with a wet cloth or some Windex, not some dry little jobby that's not going to do anything. It's just going to push crumbs on the floor. Clean it. You see something that needs to be done, just do it. So if your man is resistant to giving you this type of help, you've explained to him how much it is taxing you, how much it is making you exhausted, and how it's really cutting into your quality of life. And if he still doesn't want to pitch in and help, well, I say leave him. Kind of kidding. Would never tell anybody to leave their husband. But they should care that your quality of life is suffering because of all you have to do when they have the option to take some of it off of your plate. You can divvy things up. You take care of the kids' practice schedules. I'll take care of the doctor's appointments. So that the dad will take care of the practices. We'll get them to practice, pick them up from practice, make sure they have what they need for the games, be it a uniform, a certain type of shoe, whatever they need. That's your job. And then she takes care of the doctor's appointments. She makes the appointment. She gets them there. She gets them home. She supplies the information that is necessary. That is just one way of doing things. There are a million different ways to do things. I certainly hope that your partner would be willing to figure out some sort of compromise. If that is not possible, maybe you can hire someone to do some of the other work that you have on your list to do each and every day, week, month, what have you, so that you can focus more on the mental labor. Maybe you can get somebody to clean the house once a week so that you don't have to worry about scrubbing the toilet or cleaning off the counters. You know it's going to be done. That's one thing. Boop, don't have to think about it anymore. Maybe there is a business manager or something that you can hire to keep track of all of your expenses and do your budgeting for you so that you don't have to keep track of every little penny and stress over an unbalanced checkbook. Does anybody balance their checkbook anymore? First of all, I could never balance it. It was always wrong. It was always off. And now, I just follow the online banking. I mean, I look at it. I make sure there's nothing on there that shouldn't be on there. But, I just keep an eye on the balance, and there's no balancing the balance, if you know what I mean. So, yeah, does anybody do that anymore? I wouldn't think so, unless you're still keeping a checkbook. I use checks. I just don't keep track of everything in the little checkbook register that they used to give out. Gosh, I am showing my age. So you need to ask for help, and you are entitled. You are allowed to ask for help. That should be okay. Especially, like I said, if you are trying to get across that your quality of life is suffering. So, does this explain a little bit of why you've been so exhausted? Why you feel like you can't make one more decision? And if you take care of this stuff, if you figure out a way to spread it more evenly between you and your partner, or if you hire someone to do some of the work that you can delegate to professionals, you will be able to do more stuff that you love. And that might even be including reading your kids a bedtime story or taking your kids to the park here and there. Or it may be something that you want to do on your own. It may be pickleball. I have to get the pickleball in there. You know that. It could be, playing golf. It could be getting together with the girls for a lunch or a game night or what have you. There are all kinds of things that you can do that you've never had a chance to do that will bring you joy and a higher quality of life. So think about that for a minute. Think about what life would be like if you actually had time to do things that you loved, things that will bring you joy. Maybe it's a little soak in the bathtub. Maybe it's going to bed early. Maybe it's sitting down and reading a book for an hour or so. What do you think your life would look like if you had more time to do those types of things? how much better would you feel about yourself and life in general if you got the time to do stuff like that? I want you to put some thought into it, because we're doing too much. It's too much. And nobody should be expected to do it all. Men nor women should be expected to do all of these things that women are responsible to do and keep track of. It's a lot. So I want you to start standing up for yourself. I want you to say, hey, I need help. And don't do it in the middle of a fight. And don't do it when you know that, it's going to be a volatile conversation. Wait until, it's a calm, relaxing moment and just bring it up. Not highly emotionally charged. Be reasonable and unemotional about it. To be like, hey, hon, I've been thinking. I think I know that one of the reasons I'm so tired is because I've got to take care of all of this with the kids. And you can list off some things and, think ahead, plan this. Be like, it would be so helpful to me if you could maybe take over practice, getting them their lunch money on Monday morning. Have a couple of tasks that you want to hand off. Now, I am sure that he will be resistant, especially at first, because nobody wants to take on more work, especially when you've been conditioned that you don't have to. But this is why you want to be calm and rational and let them know that you're going under, that this is all too much and you need help, either from him or from hiring people. So there you go. What do you think? I think it's a great idea. I know it's easy for me to say that. And I know you're all thinking, my husband's never going to go for this. Then ask to hire someone. Or just say you're going to hire someone. These things can be worked out. They can. And what I want for you is a better life. I want you to enjoy your life. Life is so short. And if you're not including little joys here and there through your day, through your week, through your month, through the year, what is the point of it? We're not meant to be miserable through life. And so many women are miserable in their day-to-day. Find that spark. Find that thing that lights you up, that you are passionate about, and make time for that. And this will help. If you want to know a little bit more about stepping into your own, about discovering the true, authentic version of yourself, I have got a treat for you. I have some coaching options that are coming out, going to be out very, very soon. I'm going to have a couple of different packages, and you can scroll through those and see if anything tickles your fancy, if there's anything that you think might benefit you from living in this patriarchal system all these years. One of the things that I talk about is how to recognize internalized misogyny, which is what we have as a result of living in a patriarchy and not really even knowing that we live in a patriarchy, because it's just how it's always been. Another topic I'll bring up is decentering men. How do we go about our lives without constantly looking for approval from men? How do we go through our lives without making the man the most important thing in the every equation? And there also will be a topic on finding your true, authentic voice, because I want you to find the true, authentic you. I want you to embrace her. I want you to love her. I want you to be her. And it will all be worth it. So, thank you again for joining me today. I much appreciate you being here. And go ahead and check out my website. It's hopefulist.com. Go on out there and be badass. I'm cheering you on. Thank you for joining me in this conversation. Together, we are better. Please visit my website at hopefulist.com and remember to hit that subscribe or follow button.